Welcome back. Or perhaps you never left, in which case, I salute you. Our next target is Shadow Man, who is probably more into backstabs than salutes, come to think of it. Let it be known that I did indeed hit that enemy on my way down. And now we switch to Needle Cannon to be able to hit these bouncy frog-looking things, to Gemini Laser so that we can take out this bulldozer in one hit, and we're about to switch back to Needle Cannon. Here's something that you may not have known. Brakeman's whistle over here is, this version is actually a little longer than you normally hear it. And if you hit the pause menu on your way down, then you get to hear the thing. It does end right there, so you're just left with awkward silence if you pause any longer than that. Believe me, I've tried. In the interest of economy, we're going to be sticking with Needle Cannon for these next few enemies, and then Gemini Laser for these next few enemies. And then we're going to be able to see the central gimmick of the stage. The fact that we can't see anything. The fact that I can't aim at anything either, apparently. I don't know what happened there. It's actually kind of a boring section. If you ever feel like you're not making progress, just jump, and then you're back in it. At the very least, there are no bottomless pits here to scare us. Gee, I wonder if that's something I'm going to regret saying too. So now, Needle Cannon is actually the only weapon that's able to hit these enemies while they're low profiling on the ground. Not even Magnet Missile can hit them. It'll track them, but it'll just pass right through after it does. And speaking of Magnet Missile, now we really get to see it shine. Now just listen to that sound effect and the way it's tearing through these enemies. Normally you have to sit there and wait forever and ever for them to reach a height that you can actually shoot at, but Magnet Missile makes life good. The only issue is that you can very quickly find yourself scraping the bottom of the barrel. Because you can rapid fire Magnet Missile so much, it absolutely devours your weapon energy. Shadow Man is another one of those bosses that could have used more time in the oven. To start the battle, he jumps twice and does one of his 2 attacks. Then on, he jumps 3 times, does one of 2 attacks, rinse and repeat. Those 2 attacks are throwing Shadow Blades at you and sliding at you, and any action that you take to dodge one attack almost guarantees that you'll get hit by the other. The issue is that once he reaches the middle of the room, he completely stops being reactable and you're stuck playing rock, paper, scissors with him. Once again, the Shadow Blades hurt a lot less than the Shadow Man, so I always bank on the slide in this situation, and it's clearly working out for me really well here. The other thing to be mindful of is how the wall ends the slide early, so if you aren't far enough away from either edge, you'll get caught by his jump. What makes this extra nasty is that Shadow Man's weakness is topspin, which is by far the worst weapon to try to use against bosses. We'll talk about why that is later, but man. I'm fine with fast-paced battles, but this one has way too many elements of chance, and once again, not nearly enough tells to be fair. Shadow Blade is my least favorite weapon in this game, hands down. Other weapons are at least inoffensively useless, but Shadow Blade goes out of its way to interfere with my playstyle. It seems like I miss half my shots with it, despite how straightforward it should be to use. Okay, that's enough ranting for one day. Now I've got Rush Marine, and I didn't mention this, but we also got Rush Jet from beating Needleman a long time ago. So that rounds out the trio, Rush Coil, Rush Jet, Rush Marine. The last 2 of those are effectively the same utility, with Rush Marine having the added restrictions of only being activatable in water, and also not having the exploit where you can virtually stop all your weapon consumption. So basically, Rush Jet completely outclasses Rush Marine in any and all instances. Just used it there to get past some of the more weighty sections of the starting, the starting room. And Needle Cannon's good for a little bit of sharpshooting. Just press the fire button and hopefully all your troubles will be solved. So we see a lot of green in Top Man stage. Actually, they're screenshots of a beta build of this game, where some of these stages actually look a lot more impressive than the final versions. My guess is that, oh, and this is a trick that's very inconsistent for me actually, these bulldozers seem to not have a set distance forward that they travel. So I can't always make it to the edge of that platform before it pushes me off. Yeah, my guess is that for some of these stages they got a lot more ambitious than they could, them was feasible for the graphics, and then you know, once the deadline came up a lot earlier than it should have been, they had little choice but to roll back to an earlier version that actually worked. Hard Knuckle is takes 4 shots to defeat these cats, and I think that one of those yarn balls ate one of my shots, so if anyone asks, I wanted to demonstrate all of the attacks that this mini-boss has. That was not a mistake, getting hit there. No, Gemini Laser is pretty nice over here to be able to hit something behind you like that. We're missing a lot of weapons in this game that are that versatile. And when I was younger, I used to think this was a largely pointless and easy timing challenge, but as I played more Mega Man 3, I came to realize it's not even that. There's not too much to say about Top Man. He has two attacks. He throws a tops at you and he spins at you, and both of them are pretty easy to figure out. He also takes extra damage from the Mega Buster, and that makes him a pretty good choice to come to first if he can manage getting through his stage. You might notice that, not there, but here when I'm trying to shoot at him and he's behind me, I always jump and do it, or, sometimes I jump and do it. That's because in Mega Man 3 only, Mega Man takes twice as long as in any other game to turn around when he's on the ground. And it's invisible to me, but I feel it. Whenever I'm on the ground and I try to shoot at something behind me, I always fire in the wrong direction, and then Mega Man turns around. And that annoys me to no end. It's a muscle memory thing. It only happens in this game, not in any of the others in the numbered games in the Classic series. So now let's head on over to our final boss, Snake Man. And now we have almost all the weapons we need to not use. There's gonna be a lot of sharpshooting in here, folks. Get used to it. Boom! So now I'm gonna switch to my arch nemesis, Shadow Blade, and it's not my arch nemesis just yet. Seems pretty reasonable so far. Oh, but I'll be sure to complain about it and whine and moan and grumble and bellyache. So here we've got a snake mini-boss, a bigger version of those snakes in the architecture we saw earlier. And you really shouldn't fight it on those wiggly platforms right in front of it. Not only does it mess with your ability to jump, but they're also kind of glitchy. Anything that isn't solid ground seems to be not programmed right in this game. So now we switch to Shadow Blade again, because there are things coming at us from above and from down, and Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade. Okay. Here's a little bit of what I was talking about. Shadow Blade takes 4 hits, a whole 4 hits to be able to defeat Hammer Joes. And on other enemies, it feels a lot more powerful than that. So yeah, just not standardized weapon damage. And now that we have Hard Knuckle, we're gonna completely embarrass this second snake mini-boss over here. 2 hits, and it's gone. Top Spin might be the best weapon to use against these pole vaulter enemies because it can destroy both the enemy and the pole in one spin. Those enemies are actually kind of annoying because the poles remain an obstacle even after the enemy sprung up into the air. And what's more, it sort of shifts forward a whole bunch, and its hitbox again doesn't really reflect its visual size. And here's another example of what I mean by things that aren't solid ground being programmed improperly. Those clouds, as they come out, can sometimes shunt you off to the side and into the bottomless pit. This was actually the only run I was able to get where I hit all of these cloud bullets without missing and without getting hit myself. Very proud of that. On to Snake Man. So Snake Man himself has a very prescribed pattern, and his search snakes don't pose too much of a threat. So the only thing about this battle is that it takes a while. So we're going to be stuck doing this little dance for a bit here. That gives me a bit of a chance to talk about the sound effects, specifically the getting hit sound effects, both for you and for the enemies. They changed them up from the last 2 games, and future games will follow Mega Man 3's lead. But when your bullets make contact with an enemy, like even with a boss, like right there, every single bullet that hits will make the sound effect of the enemy getting hit, even when the boss has invincibility frames. So it can be pretty demoralizing when you're pumping Snake Man full of bullets and you look at his health bar and it's only draining tick, tick, tick. It makes him feel like he has way more health than he actually does. Alright, so now we've beaten the 8 Robot Masters, and it's time to move on to the next big thing in life, right? Oh, what? Oh, this is ominous. What's going on? What's happening? We'll be right back after these messages.